Just screamed like, oh my god, we're both controlling it? No way.
Fatality.
Welcome to the very first episode of Wake Up 3. I am your host, Cam.
Hey guys, this is Molly.
Today we're going to be talking to you all about Street Fighter 6, but before we dive into that completely, I have one little random fun fact kind of question for Molly here to get you into things. My question for you this week is, if you had to choose between Reptile and Ermac, you could have one of them in every Mortal Kombat game from now on, but you had to delete one from existence. Who would you choose? Who would you keep?
Man.
Did you want to tell them your feelings on those two characters at all?
Oh, strong love for both. I don't think I could get rid of Ermac, but man, it hurts to lose Reptile forever.
Alright.
Can I still, hit him with the hammer in the crypt? Will he be invisible somewhere?
You can only do that up to 10 times, and then he's gone from the game, so I guess that's up to you.
Just like in real life.
Yeah. So if you had to delete one from existence, you would choose Reptile to delete from existence.
Yeah, thanks for just reminding me. Pouring
Anyways.
the acid, if you will.
Right.
Into my wounds.
Good one. I guess it'll be your turn to ask a fun little question next week.
Yeah, I'll cook something real special up for you. Alright, now that that's out of the way, we're going to get into our Street Fighter 6 content, which is going to be mostly brought to you by Cam, because as we revealed in our introduction episode last week, I have not, until now, played Street Fighter. So, he is the expert among us today. Cam, take it away.
Well, Street Fighter 6 came out the day that our intro episode aired, and that night, I started playing it nonstop, starting at midnight. I went into practice mode for probably about 5 minutes as DJ, because I'd already decided I was going in with him. I just jumped right into some online matches and some ranked. Just trained all weekend long. He's really the only character I've tried so far.
You did play some as Ken during the beta.
Yeah.
But once the actual game release happened, you were all in as DJ.
I just kept watching a bunch of little videos, and then one of them specifically that happened that kind of sold me on him was when Ketchup and Mustard were invited to some Capcom play event where they got to test it before it came out, and they did a video on DJ versus Blanca, and I just thought DJ looked so fun in that, with all of his little feints and his charge attacks, his up kick. I've never played a charge character before, but before this game came out, I started practicing charge characters a little bit in MKX. I would start practicing with the charge version of Johnny just because I was looking forward to playing DJ and I wanted to kind of get a head start on practice with that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about just a couple different things about the game from my experience for the weekend. First off, the online. I thought the matchmaking, for the most part, was super, super quick, especially the rematch times. You hit rematch with somebody, and then boom, you're just right into the game. You don't go through character intros again. You don't go through any of that. You're just right in playing again. It's crazy fast. There have been times where I've actually forgotten about that, and I'll go to take a bite of food, and then it's like, oh shoot, I'm in game already. I can't do that.
Yeah, it's definitely the fastest I've seen.
Yeah,
It's very, very fast.
It's really cool because with how fast it is, there's no wait time really for one match to the next. Even when you're done playing one person and you move on to another opponent, within 10 seconds most of the time you're already playing against somebody else. It's crazy. Because of that less loading time, you can play so many more matches that way. I don't get burnt out as quick. Or for example, with Tekken 7, the game's pretty old at this point, so the loading time between matches is a long wait. And within a dozen matches or so, I'm pretty burnt out just because it takes so long to actually get to fighting somebody. But with this one, I can play 30 or 40 matches in a row and not think twice about it because of how quick everything is.
Yeah, that's definitely an extreme comparison for Tekken 7.
Yeah, for sure.
But since you're able to get so many more matches in, do you know about how many you have under your belt at this point?
Well, I've only played as DJ. It's been... You want to say what day we're recording on?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
we're recording this on a Tuesday, so
Yeah.
hey.
The game's been out for 5 full days now.
Right.
I think I've got about 200 matches with DJ. I also wanted to dig into Battle Hub a little bit and World Tour and just try out a couple of the other things, a couple of the other game modes, just so I would have a little more to talk with you guys about this week. I feel like it was pretty fun to begin with, but the further I get into it, the more I'm just kind of annoyed with the way it works because everything takes so long, and I usually just skip the cutscenes in this particular game mode anyways. I'm not really feeling it. I've been skipping the cutscenes and most of the dialogue. I just want to unlock the character skins, honestly. So I've been unlocking a couple of those, just the ones I cared for, and now I think I'm pretty much done with it at this point. I unlocked like the DJ one and a few others.
I think you got through all the ones you had wanted to.
Yeah, I've unlocked
today,
about 6 so far, yeah.
Okay, so let's backtrack. We didn't really say what that was, in case anyone listening isn't playing yet. What is World Tour mode, essentially?
Yeah, World Tour. You make your avatar, you go around collecting clothing and meeting Chun-Li and things like that.
Could you say it's a story mode, or
yeah, it's
more than that, maybe?
It's kind of like the conquest mode in like the PS2 Mortal Kombat games, only with like a create a character instead of just like a random Taven or Shujinko sort of dude. It's kind of that where you just run around meeting different characters in the universe and then doing like little fetch quests for them and beating up like little thugs or random people in the street. One of the things about World Tour mode is there are a lot of little mini games as well. My favorite of the mini games is called Scrap Heap, and it's where your avatar character gets to just beat the crap out of a semi-truck. It's a callback to some of the older ones where you would beat up a car or you would beat up... I think there was another one where you could beat up a semi, 3 or 4.
And then just today I saw you fighting a fridge.
I think that is something that I really enjoy. Just, it's goofy and it's endearing, and even though I feel like it would be out of place in some fighters, it's just something that I kind of like.
You didn't have to do this, but you did, and I love you for it.
Yeah, kind of like Tekken bowling, which I think is really funny.
God.
I love bowling as Geese Howard or as Kuma, just a bear. I love it.
I would always bowl as Kuma.
Yeah, I would always bowl as Kuma.
Because I liked to see him do the reaction.
Yeah, the little dance that he would do on his tiptoes.
Yeah.
I always thought that was fun.
Anybody else bowl as Kuma exclusively?
Yep. Battle Hub, you can bring your created avatar into like an online atmosphere. You're hanging out in this little... It's just kind of like this indoor gathering area where there's little arcade cabinets and stuff. You can challenge people to matches. You can make your avatars fight each other in that mode. I think there are some arcade games in it. Right now it's like regular Street Fighter 2 or Super Street Fighter 2. Final Fight is in there, and then I think there's some like old space shooter or something. Those games are going to rotate out daily. You can compete with other people, do 2-player, and then with those little games. So that's just like something they didn't have to add in. It's just a fun little feature that you can choose to use if you'd like.
Yeah, Battle Hub sounds kind of just like a little server mode where you hang out with different people as their avatars. Is that a mode that you enjoy?
With Battle Hub, I think it's an interesting mode. It's fun to see the other characters' creations and just goof around with them. You can do different like emotes, like jump up in the air and do like a shoryuken. You can do like DJ's air slasher at somebody and hit them with it, whatever. Little things like that. So that's kind of fun. It doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of an obnoxious way to interact with other characters.
Right.
But
I've seen you start up chains of just...
Yeah, I did one where I was just, I don't remember what move it was. I think I was doing the sumo headbutt into people over and over, and then suddenly there were like 5 people around just causing chaos in the Battle Hub. One thing about Battle Hub that I would note, though, is that there's no real way to make sure that you're playing against people that are your skill level. You're entered into a server with all sorts of random other people. Unlike ranked mode, you just challenge whoever is in there. So you might be paired up with somebody that is a complete beginner to fighting games. They've never touched one in their life, and you might mop the floor with that person. And then the very next match, you'll play somebody who will just do the exact same thing to you, where it's like, wow, my buttons felt like they didn't do anything. I can't hold a match to this person.
Oh,
They're
no.
unbeatable. You know what I mean?
It's unpredictable.
Yeah, I've had a lot of wins in there, and I've had a lot of losses in there too. It's just kind of unpredictable.
Are you able to see their profile though?
Yeah, if you take the time beforehand on the match, you
Okay.
could like walk over to their character and like click on them and view their profile. But if you're just trying to quickly go in and challenge somebody, you're probably not going to do that. So
Okay.
usually like I'll just find somebody on a cabinet, challenge them, and then either kick their butt or get my butt kicked. But if I'm trying to like upgrade my game and train against people that are more my skill level, I'll play in ranked mode, and that way I can consistently get people that I'm paired up with that like it makes more sense, you know what I mean, from a skill level standpoint.
We did test out something interesting. So this is going to be just an interesting tidbit for anyone that has a multiplayer household. We were logged in on his profile, and then I log into my own controller, and then we went over to ranked.
We turn it on, and when we get matched up with somebody, we find out that both controllers will actually control the same character. So it was letting us like before the fight, it was letting us adjust the faces, like the little pre-fight like make a silly expression kind of thing. It was letting us both do that with two controllers. And yeah, you could do that in an actual fight, which is insane to me. I don't know if that would have any practical applications in terms of like having another person hold back to charge while you're not worrying about doing that. That would probably take a lot of communication. But...
yeah, you'd have to be very in sync with that person.
Yeah,
for it to work out.
Right, but I did think it was interesting and just kind of chaotic that it would allow two controllers to be like operating at the same time as just one character in a ranked match.
Once it got to the face page and we were both able to make the face move, our reaction was just horror.
Just screamed like, "Oh my god, we're both controlling it? No way."
We thought that was pretty wild. Do you want to discuss the modern controls?
Sure. Yeah, modern controls is basically, well, first off, there's classic and there's modern. Classic is what you would expect, where it's 6 buttons. There's like the light, medium, heavy for both the punches and the kicks. And then modern is just a 4-button control scheme where one of them is light attacks, one's medium attacks, one's heavy attacks. Not kick or punch, just attacks. So you're not sure what's going to come out really. You can press like down and it's still going to do a low, some sort of crouch. But to me that took a degree of control out of the game. It's supposed to simplify it, but I felt like to me I actually did worse when I tried modern controls. I was trying to change the way I thought about doing inputs and stuff with the fighting game. So I feel like for people that are already used to classic fighters, they're not going to like it. You can just hold down one of the triggers, or you can actually map it to whatever button you want. But in my case, I hold a trigger down when I have it set to modern, and it will just do an assist function where it'll just bring out whatever the best combo you can do at the time is when you're mashing on your light, medium, heavy buttons. Another thing about that is the special attacks are all just done with a single button. So you would just press on a PlayStation controller, it's just triangle. You would just press triangle on it and then any direction, like forward and triangle or back and triangle, or even just neutral triangle. And a random special attack will come out for that character. And it's weird to me because even for like charge characters, you don't have to do the charge motion or anything. And so it's a lot faster. To make up for that,
Right.
They do reduce the damage slightly. But like, even so, it's just a lot faster to do it that way, I guess. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm just used to a classic setting.
With modern controls, you can just use that in ranked mode.
Yeah,
You can use
that's right.
that in a tournament.
Yep. I'm a little bit conflicted because the game has only been out for a couple of days, so I'm sure, I don't know all of the matchups entirely yet either. There are still a couple of characters that I haven't seen online at this point. But yeah, I feel like when I know the matchups more, it'll be easier to deal with that sort of thing.
Now, this new option of modern controls got me curious, so I ended up jumping in and trying out Street Fighter 6 over the weekend with Cam. I finally bit the bullet and did some matches.
We did about 10 matches. Yeah, not too many.
Out of those, I only won once, and it was as Manon.
Since I had only played DJ prior to this, I've done all of my matches with DJ so far. And then obviously Ken in the beta. But aside from that, I hadn't touched anybody else. So in order to make it a little more fair against you who had never played a Street Fighter game, I just picked like random characters that I also thought looked interesting that I had never played. I picked like Cammy, Jury.
I think you might have been Luke.
I think, yeah, I was Luke as well. Something about Luke, he's just like so dorky that he's like kind of endearing, you know what I mean? And then part of that is his voice actor on Twitter. He kind of makes me like the character more too. Shout out to Alex Lee on Twitter. He's like so into it on Luke that he's kind of made the character more endearing. I've tried him out a little bit now, just against you, and I thought he was fun, but I was surprised because with the 200 or so matches that I've played with DJ, I probably did like 2 or 3 against you as Jury, and I felt like playing her was just supernatural, where I was able to fall into this groove like, wow, this feels right. Maybe I'll be a Jury main in the near future.
So the first fight that we actually did, he did play as DJ, and I played as JP on modern controls. I tried that out. I had seen stuff online about JP being kind of like an NRS character. I went in with the expectation like, okay, this is gonna maybe feel somewhat natural to me coming from being mainly a Mortal Kombat player. And then used modern controls, and I don't know, it didn't click for me.
I feel like even though you got a win with Manon, I thought you were doing some pretty cool stuff as Jamie, and you said by the end you had done a couple of matches with him and it was already starting to click a little bit. In the past, in other games, you have liked those sort of setup characters a little bit, or not necessarily setup characters, but like with Kotal Khan and MK11, that was your main, and one of his things is always trying to bust out the totem or the sunlight whenever you can. Jamie is kind of like that in the sense that whenever you finish a combo or have a free opening, you're trying to get his drink on and get to level 4. No, I don't know if that has any relation to it, just wanting to just do another action during the fight at all times. I don't know if that's an intentional thing or if that's just a subconscious thing.
Subconscious.
We're going to get into the subconscious things on this podcast. So
getting deep.
Yeah, we're going to get real deep into why people pick who they pick.
Should we get to your tournament?
Let's get to the juicy bit.
We mentioned before that we were going to address how this went down.
Yeah, that's right. For better or worse, I had said. My very first offline tournament. I already said I trained all weekend as just DJ. And during that time, I had not run into a couple of characters at all online. Honda and Dalsim. And then I had only seen JP twice at that point, so I was a little bit nervous about running into any of those 3. Or when we got to the tournament, there were some casual matches going on, and I decided to just jump right in. There was this guy that was playing Honda just over and over, beating the crap out of, I don't even remember who he was playing against, but yeah, the Honda was just ripping on this dude over and over. But I decided, hey, I've never seen a Honda yet in this game, so I want to challenge him and just see what's up. I played him probably about 6 matches in a row just in casual setting and lost every single one of them, but I felt like by the end I was getting a grip on like what I could punish certain things with. Like he would do the headbutt, and I play DJ, so I would do my drive impact before he got the headbutt to me, and that was usually stopping because it would just stop him in his tracks, that sort of thing. But playing against a new character, I didn't know exactly what to do. But by the end of it, I was taking some rounds here and there and feeling a little bit more confident.
So at that point then, you had played against all but one, and that was Dalsim, this stretchy...
Yeah, he's got the power of Yoga Fire.
Oh,
That's his thing. He's got fire.
And stretchiness.
And stretchiness. It's called Yoga Fire. That's his official...
Like he calls that out?
That's his official fighting style. Yeah. And then he also does have a little fireball where he shoots it out of his mouth and he says, Yoga Fire. So
Okay, so he does also say
he does
it as
also
his thing.
say it, and
Okay.
that's before I ever really even played Street Fighter. That was one of the few references I knew just from
Really?
hearing people say that like back in the day.
So you mentioned that you hadn't seen a Honda until that day at
That's
the
right.
tournament.
Yep, that's right.
And then no Dalsum. And then you had also not seen JP until like what, the night before?
Yeah, I saw JP
And
the
only
night before.
twice.
Yeah, the night before the tournament, probably 2 or 3 a.m., I ran into back-to-back JPs in ranked and lost to the first one pretty badly and then beat the second one pretty fairly, I would say. They were both pretty quick. They were over real fast, and I still wasn't confident if I were to see like a good JP in person, you know what I mean? So I was worried about that going in.
Okay, so we got there probably like half an hour or so early. And it was kind of funny because when we walked in, one of the first matchups we saw was JP and Dalsum.
One of the very first matchups I saw people playing in casuals were two characters that I knew very little about. I looked over and saw on another monitor that Honda and then another JP on the other side of the setup, and I'm just thinking like, man, it's all the three characters I didn't run across in ranked. I'm not sure how this is going to go. So I was a little bit nervous, but I figured, what the heck? It's my first offline. I'm not really here to I'm here to win, but I'm not here thinking that I'm the best right out of the gate. You know what I mean? So I was just there for the experience, and I would say overall I was satisfied with my performance, which I would like to get into a little bit. It's round 1 of the tournament, my first matchup. The guy was actually disqualified because he didn't show up. So 1-0 me automatically already, because that dude didn't show up. So I already won my first tournament match. Thought that was fun.
Yeah, good start.
Yeah, not too bad. And then my round 2 opponent ends up being a DJ player, just like me. So my first ever actual fight in a tournament ends up being a mirror match. And I thought we were pretty close in skill level. He was definitely playing the character a little bit differently than I did. And we were both showing off a little bit of what the character can do. And since he's so new, neither of us have him perfected yet. But I thought that was a close matchup, and it was honestly a pretty fun game too. He ended up taking it in 2 matches, but the second one was super close, and I feel like it could have been anyone's game. I just ended up dropping one combo, and that took it. So that one I felt, I wasn't even bummed out about it. It was just like, well, GG's. Like, that was a fun match. It was legit fun. So after round 2, I was 1-1 in the tournament bracket. Double elimination rules where you've got to lose twice in order to be fully eliminated from the bracket. So, and in round 3, I ended up playing against a Cami player.
And you said that you were over there for a long time. Okay,
I was.
so I was watching the match on my side of the table, and they were over super quick. But you were over there forever. What was going on?
What was going on?
What was going on?
Those were probably my best matches, and they were really satisfying. I ended up taking it in 2 matches, but they were both super close. The Cami player was pretty good. I thought they already had their combos down, and they had a pretty good game plan, but I just started figuring out their neutral game was a little weak, so I just started just kind of exploiting it with like little pokes and stuff anytime they would try to move in, and then just punishing with like a big damage machine gun upper, that kind of thing.
So you were kind of extending the matches then with a more defensive play?
Yeah, and I think by the end we both were for sure. Those were pretty long matches, and I feel like they were kind of defensive on both sides, but just my like patience and persistence is what paid off for that one. So I ended up taking it in 2 matches, and I felt really good about those. Round 4, I get matched up with a JP player, and this player was on modern controls. I was a little bit nervous about that the second I saw it, because that was the only person there that I saw using modern. They started just blasting those low ground projectiles at me, and like grab and the little air portal, and I haven't seen him enough yet to know how to deal with those things, so I kind of just got cooked. It felt a little bit disheartening, but that was the end of my tournament run for that day. I ended up getting knocked out by the JP, but we'll be back. I will be back for sure. I ended up getting 7th place overall in the tournament, so top 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Top 8 out of 16. I felt good about it because yeah, like I said, the DJ match, even though I lost it, I felt like it was a close matchup, and I felt good with how I played in it for the most part. And then yeah, same with the Cammy one. I felt good about it. So I felt like the whole thing was a good experience. It didn't end the way I would have liked. But I'm gonna sign up for the next one again, and I'm just gonna keep going as often as I can. And I want to improve. I want to face some of these people. I want to face these players I've lost to already, and
Maybe next time you'll bring in Jury. Who
maybe,
knows?
yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
You'll train her up.
Yeah, I think there's some potential there. So maybe by next week with our next episode, I'll have a little update for you guys on some jury play. Maybe by next week, Molly will be playing by herself and just sneaking away and just playing by herself as Jamie, just practicing.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing that I really like about Street Fighter 6. My favorite thing.
Okay.
Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah,
Can you
please.
guess what it is?
Your favorite thing about Street
I
Fighter
bet
6?
you can guess.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is it the music?
No, but we do need to talk about that.
Yeah, the Battle Hub tune where you
Yeah.
just stand. Sometimes I'll go in there and just stand around and look at people, and I'll just
Oh,
have the
yeah.
jazz on while I'm cleaning the house. I'll put the dishes away or something, and I'll just have that little jazz playing in the background. It's kind of
It's so
catchy.
tranquil.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, but yeah, back to.
Yeah, what is your favorite thing about Street
Do
Fighter?
you know?
No, I
Okay.
have no idea.
Okay, I'll just lay it on you then. It's the pre-fight face move
Oh.
ability. I'm a big fan of that part of Street Fighter 6. I know it's just a small minor thing, and it does make me sad when people don't do it back. Like if you're moving your person's face and then they don't move it. But
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people move them around and it's fun. And it's just like one of those small things, but it makes me happy.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. That pretty much wraps up my Street Fighter 6 spiel. I wouldn't really call it a review because I'm not going to give it a score of any kind. And I'm excited to learn a lot more DJ and to try jewelry, and I guess we'll see from there. But yeah, I'm having a blast with it so far. But anyways, yeah, that concludes the Street Fighter 6 content. But we did want to talk to you about the Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay reveal that is happening today, actually, the day this episode comes out.
So we are going to be able to see that at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And Ed Boon is going to be there. Ed Boon,
Very exciting.
one of our favorite people.
Yeah.
So we are really excited, super excited to see what they have in store. And we wanted to share some predictions from us and maybe some of our wishes.
Yeah.
So what do you have as far as predictions?
Well, first off, I think my main prediction is that, obviously we're seeing gameplay. I think they're going to show off the 8 characters they've already shown. The official website had like an FAQ section on it shortly after the original trailer launched that said pre-order bonus includes Shang Tsung and then like a Johnny skin or something.
Oh, right, the Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yeah,
skin.
so that basically, not a real leak because it's straight up on the website, but that
Right.
basically said like, we're going to get Johnny Cage. And I think he's going to be shown off at this thing for the first time. I think we're going to get our first look at Johnny Cage.
Okay.
I also think we are going to see Reptile. He was sorely missing in 11. I really missed him in that game. I love him in 10. I just love Reptile in general. He was my go-to character in Mortal Kombat 2. Something about Reptile. I've always loved him. He's great. But yeah, he was missing in 11, and I think he's going to get shown off at like the very end. I don't know if we're going to get his gameplay. I kind of feel like it'll just be like a little teaser where maybe he is invisible and he's creeping behind trees and then he shows up and they show his face or something. I don't know what it'll be. I feel like they're just going to show off like a little clip like, hey, he's coming back, and I can't wait. One other prediction I have is we know there's some sort of cameo system that's going to be like an assist-based thing. We don't know anything about it yet, but in a leak that came out a while back, or that told like 5 characters that were going to be in the game, or 6 characters that were going to be DLC, and then 5 cameos, and one of them was Johnny Cage as a cameo. I think that's kind of weird that he would be on both rosters when they've said there are going to be two specific rosters. But my prediction is that that will be a unique case, and if you pick Johnny on the base roster and Johnny as your assist, you're going to get a different model for the assist, and it'll be like a stunt double. I'd love to see that. I think that would be a unique way to use that system, even before we've seen how it actually works. I just think that would be a super fun way to include like a stunt double sort of thing for Johnny. But that was the last of my predictions. My wishes, beyond Reptile. My wishes are, give me Quan Chi, please, and Robot Smoke. Now, yeah, Cyber Smoke is my favorite Mortal Kombat character. I would prefer him like 10 times over Human Smoke. I just love Robot Smoke. I remember seeing him back in like 95 when I was just a kid. And
just a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I was just a kid.
Just tiny.
Just a little old Cam. I remember seeing Cyber Smoke on the Super Nintendo and just thinking he was the coolest because one of his little animations, anytime, even when he's just standing there, he's always smoking. I always thought that was cool. And then his fatality in that game is just a whole bunch of bombs coming out of his chest and then blowing up the entire Earth. And I thought that was like the funniest fatality in the world as a kid. I still love it.
It is a good one.
Yeah, so he's my favorite character. My wish list, I want him back. What about you? I'd love to hear some predictions from you.
First off, my first prediction has nothing to do with specifics, but rather the length of the trailer that we're going to see. I'm predicting we're going to get something pretty meaty here. So the host of the Summer Games Fest said it's not going to be a 60-second trailer or anything like that. So to me, that sounds like, we're going to get something pretty substantial here, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah, that's my first prediction, is lengthwise, I feel like we're going to get something long. I'm going to predict that we get at least 3 minutes of gameplay trailer.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, I hope I don't get that totally wrong. I hope we get more.
I hope we get more. I hope we get 5 or 10. That'd be crazy.
Other prediction, this is gonna sound familiar, but my other prediction is giving a Reptile tease. I feel like Reptile has sat out, I guess not longer than anyone else in particular, but I don't know. For some reason, Reptile's absence has felt heavier than others. And I feel like he deserves that, extra spotlight in his comeback. So, I think if we get a Reptile tease at the end, that will be really hype. But as far as how they present that part of the trailer, not sure. I don't have a prediction as to how that will look or go. I just think we will see a glimpse and it'll be exciting.
Fair enough. I hope so. I look forward to it.
I kind of have just a want / a wish.
Okay.
Because one of the things is something I want and I think is attainable. The other is a wish because I feel like it's something I want that I don't expect.
Okay.
I can see on your face that you probably know what the second one is. So, the first thing I would like to see, you mentioned we know 8 characters, and then Johnny is, pretty much confirmed as well. So we could potentially see 9 characters, a bit of each of them. The leak that you mentioned earlier does include the first DLC pack, which includes Ermac, who, as we covered earlier on in the episode when you asked me that awful question, is my favorite character in the entire Mortal Kombat universe. I mean, I want to see Ermac.
Yeah, even if he just floats up at...
Yeah, even if they just show the DLC pack people.
Yeah.
That would be cool to me. And then my wish that I feel like is not possible is to see Kotal, but like you said before, Kotal was my main in 11. Kotal's just one of those lofty wishes where I feel like he's not going to be... I would be surprised. Just one more thing on the MK1 trailer stuff that we're talking about. So Ed Boon as we said, it's Tuesday right now. So Monday night, Ed Boon had some late night tweets that we're gonna cover because they elicit some responses that need to be addressed. The first one was from 10:57 p.m. He retweeted the host for Summer Games Fest and said, "Cameos and combos and breakers."
Oh my.
Oh my, with a GIF. So let's talk about that because we know what cameos are.
Sorta.
They've put that out there. They put the information out there. I'm assuming this means we're gonna see it.
We're definitely gonna see it now. And
Combos, expected that.
Yep.
Breakers, though.
Breakers.
Those have been absent.
Yeah, they
since...
were MKX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sat out of MK11. People were kind of upset about that. I feel like the general community was kind of upset about breakers being replaced by the breakaways, the one where you can break out of juggles. I actually liked the breakaway feature, especially in the end of the game when there was a little bit more of a meta. I liked having the defensive option.
I definitely thought I would miss the breaker more. When I found out that it wasn't going to be an MK11, I was a little bummed out at the beginning.
Right.
But then it turned out I didn't really miss it, too. So yeah, I guess with that included in his tweet here, I guess we might be seeing Breakers return to MK1.
That's what it sounds like.
I wonder how it's going to look, if it's going to be...
Yeah, I wonder if it'll have the same
Breakers
properties.
in the way that we know, or a new form.
Yeah.
Next tweet, he goes on... a few minutes later at 11:16, and it's a gif of sweaty Kung Lao in the field, swiping his brow and putting his hat on. And Ed Boon says, "Whew, that gameplay video though." So, sounds like it's gonna be intense. That's how I'm reading this.
It does.
Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be intense, and maybe I'm looking too into it, but it sounds like it's going to be a game that gets pretty sweaty in the competitive scene.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to see some people sweating it out in Combat League or whatever the newest iteration of that is.
Mm-hmm. And then his final tweet in this little spiel that he went on happened at 11:20. You like the timestamps?
I do.
All right, so he ends with a picture post from MK4. And he says, "Some making their way back into action," with the dragon emoji. And it's the roster.
The roster from MK4.
So what do you read from that?
Sounds like we're going to get a bunch of people coming back that haven't been around in a while. Some people from MK4 possibly.
I guess it's kind of seeming like maybe a few of these folks on the MK4 roster are going to be making a comeback soon.
It looks like it.
So, wondering who that's going to be. I know you want Quan Chi.
Right, if I had it my way, I would pick Quan Chi and Reptile, as I said.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would pick Tanya.
Well, I thought you were going to pull a fast one on me and say Reiko.
No, I don't think you would pick Reiko.
All right. That's all we have for the MK1 gameplay trailer reveal predictions and breakdown of Ed Boon's tweeting. So hopefully that was fun. So do we want to say what we're getting into next week?
Yeah, next week we are going to be discussing the MK1 gameplay.
We're going to be watching that today and getting right on to breaking down all of that content for you guys to listen to next week. And if anything happens between now and then that's unaccounted for, we might also be addressing that. So you just stay tuned. But until then, we're Wake Up 3. This is Molly. You can find me on Twitter at Concut or on PlayStation. That's Jan Michaels.
And this is Cam. You can find me at Twitter, PlayStation, and most other social media sites at Big Rock Online. And you can find the podcast at Wake Up 3 FGC on Twitter or on Spotify and YouTube. This is Wake Up 3, signing off.
Bye.
Seeing you playing Jamie alone at night is going to give me the disappointment of finding out that Santa isn't real.